All right, so who's here on John Dominguez? Yes, yes.
I did this with him last night on the video. It's an ag sexual assault in a child case. There's some videos I have to look at, and some child safety stuff I have to look at. It's early on. But
So is there any CPS records? Do you know?
there are CPS records and I'm trying to speak to them.
All right, Mr. Villarreal,
Yes, sir.
on Mr. John Dominguez, defense is saying that there are CPS records. So if there are CPS records, if you could make sure to.
If there are records, I'll get an order signed, and then I'll have them turned over.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, on Dominguez, can we have a 30-day reset for discovery? All right, so we'll be back on November 17th for discovery.
Thank you. You made that.
Oh, hey, we try. Thank you.
We'll give you a call
Okay.
when they're ready.
Thank you very
All
much.
right, who's here on Charles Jones? Hello.
He was not here this morning, so I've not heard from him for the last 4 days. The last 4 days, voluntary drug rehab.
Mhm.
He also has 3 pending secondary drug cases that are still awaiting indictment that I am not the attorney on.
So where is he? Do you know where he is?
I have no idea where he is. I've not heard from him.
And so he's not in inpatient treatment?
I'm sorry.
He's not in inpatient treatment?
Well, the last one he was. He emailed form of it. That's where he went.
But do we have any documentation? All right, Ms. Ferguson. On Charles Jones, do you have any information that he's in inpatient treatment? Did he ever send any documentation to you from a treatment facility?
He was not. He was trying to get in.
And a few times I did speak to him, Judge, when he told me he was contemplating that, I said, just, you're gonna have to judge. What's going on.
Okay. All right, everyone, we're going to go on the record. Court is calling 2021 CR 2985, State of Texas versus Charles Lee Jones. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Ryan Grimmer for the case.
for the defense?
For Mr. Jones.
All right, this hearing was scheduled at 9 a.m. It's now 1:38 p.m. Deputy, could you make an announcement for Charles Lee Jones outside the courtroom, please? The court will note that this hearing was previously scheduled on September 12th. It was recalled for today. At that time, the defendant was also a no-show, and he had informed the court coordinator that he was in a treatment center, but the court coordinator nor the court has ever received any documentation of that. Deputy, is he outside the courtroom?
Okay.
All right, defense, have you had any contact with your client?
I have not, Judge.
State?
We had moved for a bond forfeiture.
All right, is he on a PR bond or surety? Do you need the cause number? It's 2021 CR 2984. All right, so the court will grant the state's motion, bond forfeiture. I'll remand your client without bond. If he presents himself, the court will reconsider.
Okay, may I excuse, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Marcus.
They're gonna present it this week.
Okay, good. Yeah. My case will get dismissed.
And
Yeah,
Mr.
someone else.
Kuntz, is this your client?
Yes, ma'am. Are you ready for us?
Yes. All right, the court is calling 2022 CR 3369, State of Texas versus OCL Griffin. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Ready, sir?
Defense?
Don Kuntz for Mr. Griffin.
And are you Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Defense, I'm showing you the discovery acknowledgement. Have you received all the discovery in this case and did you review it with your client?
We have it.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Griffin, I'm showing you what's entitled application for deferred adjudication, community supervision. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it? Next, I'm showing you what's entitled true bill of indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
No, Judge, we're waiving count. So you can proceed on count.
We have no objection.
Mr. Griffin, I'm showing you what's entitled court admonishments and defendants waivers and affidavit of admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it in all the appropriate places? Did you understand you're charged with the offense of robbery? That's a second-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand? If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea bargain agreement. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea bargain agreement and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand? Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent? Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights? And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea bargain agreement in this case? Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty, not grant you community supervision, and sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine? Did you understand? Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Very much so.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
We certainly don't.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes and yes.
Mr. Griffin, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea? Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea bargain agreement? Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented? Are you a U.S. citizen? Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page, did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? According to the plea bargain agreement, the state is proceeding on count 1. They recommend deferred adjudication. They're taking in consideration County Court Cause number 662976. There's to be no contact with Jennifer Munoz, Julio Rubio, the pit stop at 4506 Lakewood Drive, San Antonio, Texas, 78220, 527 South Acme Road, 2207. Is that a suite number?
Yes, Judge, department.
Okay. Sorry, that's 527 South Acme Road, number 2207, San Antonio, Texas, 78237. Did you understand that to be the plea bargain agreement? Defense?
Yes, Judge.
State?
Yes, Judge.
Showing you the paragraph entitled waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places? Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand? Counsel, are there any such motions? Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargain agreement. State is requesting that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 3 years. There be a TAP evaluation and McMouth evaluation. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations? Then to the offense in count 1, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? State, any evidence?
Yes, Judge, states exhibit 1 and all.
We've reviewed them and have no objections, Your Honor.
Mr. Griffin, I'm showing you what's entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it in all the appropriate places? Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent? Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand? Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same.
Judge, just for the record, there are some disputed facts with regard to what's in the report versus what my client tells me happened and what we've seen on the video, but my client was grateful that the prosecution was off and deferred adjudication. He's been in custody a total of over 3 months now. He'd really like to get back out. He has businesses that he runs. He sells things on Amazon and other things, and so he's very appreciative of this opportunity.
Thank you.
I won't mention the fact that he's from Mississippi. You being from Louisiana. I want to make sure there's no rivalry.
All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you apply for deferred adjudication. Are we proceeding with sentencing?
We would request sentencing today, Judge.
All right, anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
No, Judge, we request that you follow the plea bargain. He understands that he can't go back to those convenience stores. He will be staying with his sister in the short term. His sister has been in court. She's not here right now, but she's been here for the other setting. She's retired military, a wonderful person. He's going to reside with her at least in the interim until he figures out what his next step is. But we would just request to follow the prison.
All right, are you employed or do you have any job prospects?
Yeah, I have my own business, this is,
Okay, what is your SSI for?
disability, society, depression.
Oh, all right, do you have any children?
No matter how much I know.
Okay. So there's a possibility, you just don't know of it. Okay. So what are your plans once you're released from custody, other than,
People go see my mom, make sure she's okay.
so everyone, please whisper. So, is your only family here your sister? Are you planning on staying in San Antonio? So are you planning on going back to Mississippi? When is eventually? Okay, because if you're requesting a transfer, the court can ask that your probation be transferred to Mississippi.
You are not right now. Yes.
Okay,
What the judge is saying is, should you decide whether it's next month or next year, or whatever, the court can transfer your probation to wherever you want to live. Okay, so that's not a problem. And with regard to traveling to go visit your mother, make sure you get permission from your office. You can't just leave Bear County without getting permission from your office. Okay?
all right. And I see here that there's a request for a mouth evaluation. Are you currently on medications?
Yes, ma'am. Pressing, blood pressure medicine, other medication.
All right. Have you ever been diagnosed with any mental health issues?
Just the antidepressant.
All right. And I'm sorry, what is his sister? Well, you'll need to give probation your sister's name,
Yes.
right? Because that's where you're going to be residing. And does she want him residing with her?
Yes, yes.
All right. So how old are you?
36, 37.
All right, so I'm gonna give you the rules. If you're living with somebody else and they're paying for the roof over your head and paying for bills, their rules go. So if they have a curfew, even though technically you're an adult, that's your curfew. Because sometimes people don't like people disturbing them by coming in at midnight. Okay? All right, this is what the court is going to do then. The court will sentence you to 3 years. 3 years deferred adjudication. Take in consideration County Court Cause number 662-976. There's to be no contact with Jennifer Munoz, Julio Rubio, the pit stop. Is there more than one pit stop in San Antonio? All right, just don't go to the pit stop at 4506 Lakewood. And it may be best, just don't go to any pit stop. What do they sell at pit stop? Or is that, it's a convenience store? Okay.
Cigarettes, cokes, things like that.
And you're not to go to 527 South Acme Road, number 2207. You to reside with your sister. We'll do the MIC evaluation while he's out of custody.
Thank you, Judge.
If you miss your MIC evaluation appointment while you're out of custody, then we may have to do MIC evaluation while you're in custody. So whether you want it done out of custody or in custody is completely up to you. All right?
Whatever appointments, probation tells you, gotta go. Go. If you don't go, unless you want, then they'll have the evaluation and want to change.
All right, there's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in custody. And depending on the MIC evaluation, see if you can set him up with Center for Healthcare Services, because I think you need to be on your medications when you leave the jail. So we're going to do Center for Healthcare Services, regular UAs. Have you used drugs before? Okay, well, that's a good thing. There's going to be proof of employment or SSI within 45 days. So I know it takes SSI some time. So you need to make sure that you have applied for it and given probation proof that you've applied for it before those 45 days expire. You understand? States you're not requesting any community service hours.
I know that.
All right. And we'll do field visits 2 times per month. If everything is going well with that, then it can drop off to 1 time a month. I just want them to do field visits to make sure he's taking his medications and make sure that there are no issues with him getting his medications and no issues with the residents. All right. And if for some reason you don't get your SSI and you get employment, there's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Probation, is there anything else he needs?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Griffin, is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful? All right, I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document? I'm sorry, this should go to you as well. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
This is actually just, this is what she's asking. Court certification, the right to appeal,
Written down.
All right, did you sign it and understand it?
Yeah.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand? All right, we can go off the record. Mr. Griffin, in order to be successful on probation here, communication is key. I don't place people on probation with the hope that they end up going to prison. I place them on probation and hopefully they will successfully complete it. So if there are some issues that are coming up, you need to communicate them with probation. If there's issues with your employment, issues with SSI, issues with medication, contact them before you contact me. All right, I don't want to see you back here for a motion to revoke.
Yes.
All right,
Your Honor, also I explained to him, and I know we're off the record, but I told him that in a year and a half, if he's been on the right track and no violations, we can potentially come back and request of the court terminate his probation. So
yes. But again, that will depend on your actions, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Probation will go over conditions with you.
Thank you.
All right, yes, you're done. Thank you. All right, Justin Schermerhorn, what's going on with that? What do you want to recall it?
we're now, yep, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then,
He came up.
hi, Mr. Shohorn. All right, we're gonna recall your case, your attorney's in jury trial in the 290th District Court, okay? They'll give you a reset form. Thank you. Rogelio Sanchez.
Mine.
Hello.
That's mine, good.
Oh, the state, you're supposed to make an announcement today on whether or not you're seeking the death penalty.
Yeah, we're not seeking the death.
Okay,
So, and I did tell Cornelius and Bridget that at this point, I think now that we finally got that decision, discovery, I think they have everything. We're gonna fine tune that part, but I told Cornelius we started talking about potential offers by the next day.
all right. So I know they sent your client back, Mr. Cox. So what we'll do is I'm notating in the file that the state made the announcement they're not seeking the death penalty. And then we'll recall this and have your client here so they can be placed on the record.
That's fine, good.
Okay.
Well, I can communicate it to him, but you need the record.
Oh, well, you know, I always like the record to be there to reflect what it reflects. You know, he's still a little shell shocked from the football game.
It's okay for me.
Yeah, because I know you were having wonderful dreams of them going to a championship. We may not be going either, but LSU just may be a dream destroyer.
That's nothing to pass.
You just don't understand. I mean, are you going to write a letter?
It was a good call. I thought a call.
Well, got that interception. Figure we were back, we were.
You thought it was done deal. Yeah, sometimes the agony of defeat. You know, they don't play that anymore. Well, I will tell you, I had the thrill of victory
I waved to you.
with LSU and the agony of defeat with the Saints. So it just went here and then. I feel your pain. Oh, Norma, when do you want to bring Mr. Sanchez back?
Yeah, no, my trunk's.
Just to make that.
Yes, just to make that announcement. Okay, we'll be back on October 25th. And then who's here on James Hasso and Mariah Rodriguez? All right, then what we will do is line the, see if the jurors are here. They're supposed to be back at 2. So let's just see how many of they are, and then we'll start back up. Thank you for coming by, Mr. Cox.
Well, Judge, I anticipated that from Saturday night. I kind of figured I was hoping I didn't have anything set.
But you notice I didn't call you over the
I
weekend.
appreciate that.
What's your last name?
I appreciate that.
Because you have to have time to digest what has happened, you know? I'm sorry, who? Could I see the file on Van Duzer? Did you have Van Duzer to come in? Oh, okay, well, just have him remain outside then.
That's what she said. She's stuck in a hearing and she'll be here.
All right, just have him remain outside. Okay, all right. So if you all want to get in touch with Miss Christian and her client is outside. We're missing one? Okay.
Fred, you do the timestamp of our laptop, right?
I didn't hear you.
She's at the printer with the timestamp. When is that?
Forget it.
Capital something A. Okay.
Uh,
In the light here and just so you know.
Okay. Mr. Foley? The state is giving me anticipating when they're gonna rest. So I'm trying to coordinate that with the time for you to have your witnesses here, if you're calling witnesses.
They've given you.
They're thinking maybe Wednesday. State, when do you you're thinking you may rest on Wednesday?
Maybe tomorrow, but yeah, for sure Wednesday.
All right, so if they rest tomorrow, then just make sure your witnesses are here on Wednesday. So either way, make sure your witnesses on Wednesday or either by Zoom.
And I don't think, Judge, that we can. Wednesday, if they were arrested.
Food, health stuff.
Dr. Anderson has another file in Tampa that he is anticipating. He's not sure when it'll be called. You know, they apparently start picking the jury today, but he thinks Wednesday will be the day he's called.
Of everything. You didn't
So is he going to be by Zoom then here?
Judge, I haven't. I don't know.
All right, so here's the thing. State, are you all going to object to his expert appearing by Zoom?
Judge, let me see if anyone to talk to Melanie.
So, Mr. Foley, what I can tell you, if the state objects to him appearing by Zoom, then of course I'll take that into consideration, but ultimately I will make the decision whether he appears by Zoom or not.
I think it'll probably be okay, but. Then I'm fast forwarding this, so I'm just gonna cue it up to the. Okay, they're all spot.
Okay, okay, just give me one
It
moment.
was far.
Oh, is your client? Okay, thank you.
Well, what else did it give you? It wasn't, it doesn't give you groceries, it gives you other stuff, doesn't it?
See, and just for the record, you're still under oath.
All rise for the jury.
Please be seated. State.
Okay, when we stopped a little bit ago, I stopped at 13:44:41. I fast forwarded to 13:57:38 for the record and for defense.
Judge, I object to the cherry picking. I ask that the jury under rules 106 and 107 be permitted to view the entire video at this time so that there's not an unfair misimpression left with the jury.
All right, defense's objection will be overruled. The court will note for the record that state's exhibit number 155 has been admitted into evidence. State.
Besides dishes and plates, what else did you drop on the bed? Got the banana? Well, I don't think the banana's pretty soft. Well, a banana's gonna cause what damage? I mean, yeah, I'm sure she didn't like it. Three or four times, you drop some kind of dish on her head, causing her to bleed. What else did you drop on her head? She said dishes and the banana. Well, I probably actually went some good stitches for her, okay?
That was for anything else except the banana.
Okay.
That was. And then she dropped the, that promo. And it got her on the. Side. And I threw that away too.
How many times did her head get hit on door frames?
You just don't always get kind of sometimes you choose that. Sometimes not even above. Really want that, so we're together.
Well, besides when you're carrying her bed and you hit the same spot she fell, what was that? You said Friday she fell back and hit her head, and then you said what? How many days later she hit her head on the door frame when you're carrying her bed? You don't remember? So Sunday night, so Friday she fell back and hit her head, and then Sunday, when you were carrying her to bed, you hit the same spot in her head on the door frame. And before that, when was the last time she hit her head on the door frame?
Remember that it was the bathroom, back to the bathroom.
Couple weeks before. When's the last time you were playing with her, spinning her around and hitting her head on the door frame?
I don't know that one. It's this one.
When was the time you had her on your shoulders? When was the time you had her on your shoulders? What month? What's that month? When your mom's birthday? In August, into August. You had her on your shoulders and what happened?
I watched him see the guy to himself and Tom.
So what part of her head did you put on the door frame?
The top.
The top.
It didn't cut her there. He was off. But I was gonna stop her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I was holding her.
What else has caused a cut to her head?
She's playing with him. She got outside a couple of times. And I know that since that, I wanted to, what's the back of your head? On the side.
You remember anything else? The Alamo cut her head. Okay. How many times did she accidentally hit her head when you were carrying her to bed?
Pretty much every time I even forget. Either
How often do you carry her to bed? So 2 to 3 times a week, her head or her feet hit the door frame when you carried her to bed. And you didn't aim your approach?
I always try to squeeze through, like, the door and just. It didn't seem that it wasn't that. It she didn't say, I mean, she would cry, she would say, ow. And,
What made you start looking up head trauma, researching?
This is a book that my mom bought me for a child.
Okay. What's the first time that it made you take out that book and look up head trauma? What happened?
I think it's confusing the child. Overhead on the coffee table, and she. No, I think I just put the whole thing before. And then I looked it up again to see what to look for,
What made you look it up again and see what to look for?
because I heard a loud bang, and he was sitting there. I didn't see her hit her head, but I figured that must have been it. She didn't have a phone or anything, but the next morning she did. She had her, it was kind of, I don't know, kind of swollen. I didn't know I should take it if you could be that injury. And injury after that late, after it was too late, take it to the doctor if I should have to take it to the doctor. But it said, you know, there was just some time and he didn't have any good time.
And when did that happen?
So he was
So over a year ago.
between 2 and 3.
Okay. And she hit her head on a coffee table, or that's a different time?
Just like it was broken. I just left it broken for a while.
So she ended up, you didn't know she hit her head, you assumed she hit her head until this day, and that's what made you start looking at head trauma. Did you always look up head trauma?
No, I think the first time was when I dropped the laptop.
Did you ever research anything else in that book?
Either upset stomach, cold. I read the whole thing when I was kind of just to know. But you have to raise and take it touch. Something bleeding in this bleeding a lot, obviously, that's why it's a bit. But it was just a little cut.
I'm stopping the video. Well. At approximately 14:09. For the record.
And Judge, I object and ask that the jury be permitted to watch the entire video under Rule 106, 107.
All right, the objection will be overruled. The court will note for the record that State's Exhibit 155 has been admitted in its entirety.
Sergeant Barnes, despite arresting the defendant, did you still continue your investigation?
I did.
What was the next step in your investigation?
I spoke to one of the defendant's friends who had contacted me about her dealings with the defendant and Olivia. I spoke to the father of Olivia and his mother. And I spoke to one of Olivia's father's other children's mothers.
And who was Olivia's father?
Corey Ruiz,
And who was his, or who was Olivia's grandmother?
Laura Ruiz.
And how did you find out the identity of Olivia's father?
He contacted me.
Was the defendant ever provided to you?
No, she did not.
And who was the last person you said you spoke with?
One of Corey Ruiz's other child's mothers.
Who was that person?
Denise Erickson.
And were they able to provide you with helpful information?
They were.
What was the next step in your investigation after that?
I attempted to locate Facebook for the defendant. One of the people I talked to indicated that there were pictures on Facebook of Olivia that I was
Object
trying
to the
to.
hearsay, Judge.
You attempted to locate,
I'm sorry, just one moment. That objection will be sustained to hearsay.
Sergeant Barnes, were you able to find information on Facebook?
I was not. And then I also spoke to the medical examiner again.
And the medical examiner, Dr. Hyde?
Yes, ma'am.
Sergeant Barnes, in your entire investigation, was there ever any indication that any man was ever left alone with Olivia?
No, there was no indication that anyone other than the defendant watched Olivia or spent time alone with Olivia.
Was Olivia ever involved in daycare?
No, she was not enrolled in daycare, pre-K, or any other kind of organized facility.
Was she ever involved in sports?
Not that I was told.
In your investigation, was she ever involved in any other activities that could have accounted for these injuries?
Not within the time frame of this investigation.
And you stated previously that you're in charge of the special victims unit.
Currently, I'm one of the supervisors in special victims.
How many child abuse cases would you say you've reviewed in your career?
I have no idea. That's one of the cases and special victims we got when I was a detective in night criminal investigations. That's another offense that we investigated. And then when I worked in homicide, we got murder cases involving children, so I couldn't even guess at the number.
Would you estimate if you were a lot?
A lot, unfortunately.
In your experience and your professional background, are women capable of inflicting the type of injuries that you saw in Olivia?
Yes, they are.
And after your entire investigation, you determined there was probable cause to get a warrant for the defendant's arrest. What was that based on?
It was based on the totality of the investigation, which includes the injuries sustained by Olivia, the information provided by the doctors, the information provided by the medical examiners, and then the information I acquired from other individuals when I went to look back at the history between the defendant and Olivia. And then the defendant's own admissions that she's the only one that cared for Olivia. She's the only one that was ever around her. She didn't provide Olivia to anybody else for daycare, for even watching for a couple hours. So she's the only one who had care, custody, and control when those injuries occurred.
And with regard to the defendant's explanation as to how Olivia sustained her injuries, did you believe that those were sufficient explanations?
Objection to the relevance, Judge. It doesn't matter what this detective believed or didn't believe.
I thought it'd be sustained.
I'll pass the witness at this time.
Defense.
Sorry, Judge, 1 second. Were you with Jessica at university?
No, I was not.
I'm sorry,
No, I was not
by university, I mean Health Sciences Center at the hospital.
at the hospital. No, sir.
Okay. So, you have investigated, you said a lot, you don't know how many child abuse cases.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
right? And would you agree with me that that has given you a predisposition to see cases as perhaps abuse?
No, sir.
Okay. Would you agree with me that in this case, you had already made up your mind pretty much before you went into Jessica's apartment that was on the 5th, correct?
Yes.
Before you went into Jessica's apartment on September 5th of 2017, you'd already made up your mind that this was child abuse. Would you agree?
No, sir.
Okay. Um, You, sorry.
Can y'all put that to where it doesn't fall,
I'm sorry.
all those papers?
Oh, they're in here. Okay. You might have.
Just didn't want that to fall off the paper. I just don't want it to fall off the.
Oh, I got you. I'm showing you what's been marked and entered into evidence as states exhibits 44. 99, and then there are a couple of others that are included in that. Oh, well, sorry. There's 50, 57, 48, and 58, which were not just stacked with them, but it's all been admitted in front of the jury. Do you recognize those?
Yes, these are the crime scene photos.
I'm sorry.
These are the crime scene photos.
Okay, and who took those again?
Our CSI took them.
CSI did?
Yes.
Okay, and I think the CSI Oliva, Brenda Oliva, is that her name?
Let me look at my report, it should say.
While you're looking at that report, let me look at this.
Sure. It was CSI Perez.
I'm sorry.
CSI Perez took photos of the crime scene.
Okay. And what was the last name?
Perez.
And did you direct which photos for him to take?
They have their standard procedure of how they take photos of a room. But anything that I was going to collect as evidence, I would have asked them to take a photo of.
And what was the last part?
Anything that I was going to collect as evidence, I would have asked them to take a photo of.
Oh, I see. I got you. And also, if you thought that they had missed any significant portion of the crime scene, what you consider to be a crime scene, you could ask them, you could direct them to say, take a picture of that, right? You guys-
Yes, I could.
Okay. Did you have to do that in this case at all?
Aside from asking him to take specific pictures of the evidence and the refrigerator cupboards, I don't recall if I asked him to take anything else special.
And by the evidence, you mean the physical items that you collected or the CSI collected?
Right, the items that were collected as evidence put in the property room.
Okay, and collected at your direction, right?
Yes.
So, and I want you to look, sorry, Judge, can I approach you?
Yes.
The 44 is the first photo, correct? It's just the photo of the card that they use to identify the pictures, right?
Right.
Okay, and then the next photo, what is that a picture of?
That's the apartment building.
It's a long shot, wide angle shot of the apartment building, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and then the next one,
that's a close-up of the building.
sorry,
It's a close-up of the building.
okay, and then the one after that.
Is the front door.
And then do the photos sort of the way that they're arranged here and the way that they're numbered by the prosecution, and again, these, I'm not trying to hold those out, those are just, have been separate. But in general, are they sort of in the order of as you will walk into the apartment, starting in the parking lot, and then as you walk into the apartment and then go through the apartment?
Yes,
Okay, and is that standard procedure, or is that just the way it happened in this case?
it depends on the crime scene, but if they're taking any images of a house, they're gonna start with the outside, so it documents the address and where it's located. And then any room they take a picture of, generally they'll take a 360-degree picture in that room.
Okay, now, when you get there, because you tell us you haven't made up your mind, you're looking for anything that could explain these entries, correct?
Yes, sir.
And
You're on two.
showing you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 2. Do you recognize that?
That appears to be the landing outside the door, but I can't see the apartment number to know for sure.
Okay, but it looks at least like the same apartment, correct?
It looks similar, yes.
And
No objection.
we move for the admission of defendants 2, Judge.
All right, defense exhibit number 2 is admitted without objection.
Thank you. And just to be fair, I will represent to you that this photo was taken recently and that these, like the wreath on the door and the bicycle and the garbage bags, those were not there at the time that you were at the apartment. Is that correct?
They're not in the photographs, no, so they weren't there. If that's the same apartment.
Yeah, if that's the same apartment, these items were not there.
Right.
Right. Okay. But other than that, does that fairly represent a view of that front area in front of the apartment?
Like I said, it looks similar, but without being able to see the numbers, I don't know if that's the area.
Sure, sure. Anyway, if you want to speak this up here, I can do. Tell you what's marked as defendants 3. Do you recognize that?
That would be the front door.
Okay, and that's the apartment that we're talking about, correct?
It says 535.
Okay, and you can more clearly see it there, but it's also got the wreath there and the little chair in front, correct?
From the photo you showed me before, yes.
Yeah, okay. But again, those items, the wreath, the little chair or stool off to the left, the garbage bag off to the right, those weren't there at the time that these photos states 44 through 90, I think it's 9 were taken, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and, there's a move for admission of defendants 3.
State.
Objection.
All right, defenses number 3 is admitted without objection.
And then, looking at defendants 2 again, what does that appear to be on the left side of the photo?
Are we talking about the stairwell?
Yes,
The stairwell.
a stairwell, okay. And, what floor was this apartment on, did you say?
3rd floor.
You recall, detective, and we can, you can look at more photos to refresh your memory if you need to, but do you recall if the stairs leading from the 1st floor to the 2nd floor and the stairs leading from the 2nd floor to the 3rd floor were the same?
I don't remember.
Okay. So showing you what's been marked defendants exhibits 4 through 12. Oops. Sorry. I'm a little out of order. Can you look at those and tell me if you recognize them?
There's stairs at the apartment.
Okay, and just one. While she's looking through those, go ahead and look through the photos, states 44 to 99. And find me the corresponding photos of the stairs leading to the apartment.
Objection to these.
All right.
Who's the
Defense
admission-
ex-
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Defense exhibits 4 through 12 are admitted without objection.
Thank you, Judge. While you're looking, why do y'all take pictures of what you consider to be crime scene?
To document the location.
Okay, and you try to take pictures of everything that's important, correct?
Yes, sir.
And if the CSI team misses something, then you would direct them to take pictures of the important parts of what you consider to be a crime scene.
If it's known to me at the time, yes.
Okay, and but here, you really didn't know anything about the nature of Olivia's injuries at this point when you went to the apartment, did you?
I had basic information.
I'm sorry,
I had basic information.
a basic impression,
Information.
information, okay.
Yes, sir.
But you didn't know, you hadn't spoken to any of the doctors, correct?
No, I spoke to the SVU detectives.
Okay, so you had not spoken to any of the doctors, correct?
No, I believe they spoke to the doctors.
Right, but you, let me just ask that one more time. You did not speak to any of the doctors, correct?
Not at that time.
So, can you show me those photos that you found?
Other than the outside of the building, there are no photos specific to the stairs.
There are no photos specific to the stairs. All right, so, one thing then we know from what you just testified is that you didn't find the stairs to be important in this inquiry, correct?
There's no indication that she fell downstairs, so no.
Right. There was no indication of anything. There was an indication that she had some injuries, correct?
We knew where she was found according to mom.
I'm sorry,
According to the defendant, we knew where she was found.
where she was found?
Yes, she came from inside her apartment.
Okay. But that's a little slightly different question than I'm asking. What I'm asking is, did you have any indication that she had not fallen down the stairs?
Yes, we had what the defendant told the officers at the Prue substation and the SVU detectives,
What was that?
that she woke up that way in the apartment.
That she what?
Well, she didn't wake up. She was found that way in the apartment.
And where was mom before that?
She went to go get a money order while her child was homesick.
Right, so she doesn't know what Olivia was doing while she was out getting a money order, correct?
True.
Okay, so you had decided though, and again, I'll ask you, you had decided that this is abuse, correct?
No,
Okay, so. You also directed when you said that you told the CSI people what to gather from the scene. You also directed them what to swap, correct?
If they'd missed something that I would want to be swabbed, then yes.
Okay, so again, if it was important and they hadn't swabbed it, then you would tell them swab that.
Correct.
Okay. Could you step down here? Could maybe witness step down here?
Yes,
Could you step down here, please?
and state you're more than welcome to move about the courtroom.
I'm sorry.
I told the state they're welcome to move about the courtroom if there's something the jurors are viewing. Just keep the voice up.
Can you help me find these swabs? Okay.
All right, and everyone, please keep your voice up so that the court reporter can hear.
Do you have that with you, the evidence list?
I have what's in my report.
Okay. And for the record, you handed me what's marked States Exhibit 30, correct? Good question.
38.
So you've handed me what's marked States, you can go ahead and sit down. Well, actually, while you're up here though, what's contained in 38 again?
It's a swab of the vomit.
Of the bomb, okay. And that was the, show me the swabs from the floor by the chair. And that's marked as 37, correct? Oh, okay, so that was taken at police headquarters. Or the other.
They may not have brought those, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
But then, and actually, those weren't the ones I was talking about anyway, but those exist. But where they swab the carpet in the back bedroom, right?
Yes.
Okay, but I'm talking about the, in the living room, there's a wing chair, right? You call that?
Yes.
Okay, where are the swabs from the floor by the wing chair?
I don't have any swabs from that.
And why is that?
It was not swab,
And why is that?
not swab.
Because you didn't direct them to swab, correct?
True.
Okay, you can have a seat. So. Also on your report, you have the swabs from the stairs.
There were no swabs from the stairs
And why is that?
because we did not swab the stairs.
Because,
I didn't find a reason to swab the stairs.
and therefore you did not direct them to the swabs.
Correct.
What are the stairs made of?
Concrete.
And they have, it appears, a steel edge on each, leading edge on the bull nose of each stair. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I asked you before if the stairs went in the same, if the stairs were the same leading from the first floor to the second floor, because they are leading from the second floor to the third floor. I'm going to show you what's marked as exhibit, as defendant's exhibit 10, what's been admitted in evidence as defendant's 10, and ask you, can you tell from that, does that refresh your memory about whether the stairs have the same sort of configuration going from the first floor to the second floor as the stairs going from the second floor to the third?
What do you mean by configuration?
Well, you see how there's one long flight of stairs going from the first floor to the second floor?
Mhm.
Is that the same going from the second floor up to the third floor?
The first floor may be longer, but I can't really tell.
So does it appear then that there's a landing and a turn, and then you go up a second set of stairs to get from the second floor to the third floor?
Yes, there is a landing.
Okay, gotcha. And then if we look at there we go, State's Exhibit 8. That appears to show the long flight of stairs going from the first floor to the second floor, correct?
Yes,
And then State's Exhibits 4, 5, 6, and 7 appear to show, oh, sorry, State's Exhibit 9 also is the long stairs, but from the top view, correct?
yes,
And then the States 4 through 7 appear to show the shorter flight of stairs going from the landing of the second floor to the third floor, correct? Sorry, I said states, sorry, I meant defense.
yes, look
Oh.
like the other stairs.
Okay, and there are two sets, the stairs depicted in Defendant's Exhibit 10, there are two sets of stairs like that, correct? In other words, there's one at this end, then there's one down at the other end, is that right?
Meaning, yes, there's one at one end of the breezeway and there's another set of stairs at the other end of the breezeway.
Okay, got it. And Defendant's 11 shows that second set of stairs, this is the other door, right? That's that second set of stairs in Defendant's 11 going out the other side of the breezeway, correct?
Yes, sir.
And they're identical as far as you remember, correct?
Yes,
Did you look at the stairs on the? Well, how did you come in? Do you remember?
from the parking lot in the front.
The parking lot side? And
Yes.
did you go up the stairs on that side of the building, on the parking lot side?
Yes,
Okay, and then at the other, you could have, if you wish, just continued to, just so the jury understands, you've got a set of stairs here, but you could have walked around those, gone straight through the breezeway, and then that's where the other set of stairs are at the other end of the breezeway, correct?
correct.
Okay, and did you ever go up or down that far set of stairs?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Okay, certainly you didn't, well, you didn't have them swabbed, we know that, right?
Correct.
And you apparently didn't look at it very closely, correct?
Objection argumentative.
That'll be overruled. You can answer the question.
I don't remember.
Well, all right. You're welcome to refresh your memory with your report from the prosecution guide. If you have that in front of you, if you don't, I can get you a copy of it. But if it were important, and if you had looked at it closely, you would have put that in the report, correct?
I would have put that in my report if I found something on the stairs.
If what?
If I found something on the stairs.
Okay, so, and when you say found something, what do you mean something?
If I found something that I was concerned about or thought was evidentiary and needed to be collected.
And how would you, like, give me an example.
If I found a stain that looked like blood, then that would be important.
Okay, but you don't even know if you looked at those sets of stairs, correct?
I can't tell you at this point. I don't remember.
You don't know, okay. And we do know that the stairs, well, you said that this fairly inaccurately, again, these pictures were taken recently, but these pictures fairly inaccurately, I think you testified, represent what this building looks like, correct?
Yes, sir.
And we do know that there are stains all over the place on, for example, Defendant's Exhibit 9, correct?
Yes, there are spots on the stairs.
I'm sorry,
There are spots on the stairs.
okay. And you didn't have any of those spots swabbed, correct?
No, I did not do any swaps on the stairs.
So again, that's because you had already decided that this was abuse. And that was not, and that the stairs were not what caused these injuries, even though you weren't aware of the nature of the injury, correct?
No, sir.
You knew that they were blunt force injury. You knew they were blunt force injuries, whatever they were, right?
I knew that there were injuries.
Okay. Could stairs cause injuries?
Yes, stairs can cause injuries.
Jessica, you made a pretty big deal about this table and the broken legs that we saw in the video and in the pictures, right?
You're asking if I made a big deal?
I am.
We collected them. I thought they could be important in the future.
Okay. And you asked Jessica why she hadn't just thrown those away, correct?
I did.
And what did she tell you?
She said that the table belonged to her friend and she wanted to give it back if the friend wanted it.
Do you have kids?
I do not.
Have you ever?
No.
Um. The Bolero is where the pictures were taken of Jessica buying the money order, is that right? Or the video, you also took stills out of that, correct?
Yes, sir. I believe it's a Bolero.
Showing you states 114, it's gonna matter their evidence. Can you show us where the Bolero is on that? You can hold it up for the jury if you need to.
The Bolero is not on this. I can show you the general direction of where that Bolero is.
Which direction is it?
The Bolero is going to be down at this end.
Okay, so this red dot here is the Chisholm Trace Apartments, correct?
That's the defendant's apartment.
And then around here is the Prue substation,
Yes, sir.
and she had to walk that way, right?
I believe she cut through here because that's where the quick stop is, or the quick stuff.
Okay, and I guess actually I can put this up so the jury can see better. I don't know how to use this thing. And this has already been admitted, Judge, as 114. I am putting this up so that the jury can see what we're talking about, but starting at the Chisholm Trace Apartments here, you believe she walked down Heidner and then cut through here at the, I forget what's over there. There's a gas station, right?
Yes, sir.
Quick stop, I think. And then came to the Prue substation, which is over here, correct? Sorry. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And then the Bolero would be somewhere out of the picture over this direction, correct?
The Bolero where she got the money order. Yes, sir.
That way. Okay. And when Jessica was there, at that point, there's a picture of her, y'all took, you decided which stills were going to be pulled out of this video, is that correct?
I put still shots from that video into my record that I sent over along with the video.
And it was your decision which still shots to take, right?
I don't know how I came to those still shots. I don't remember.
Well, somebody else didn't come in and say, you need to take this still shot and you need to stop it here and take this still shot. It was your decision where to click print screen, right?
I don't remember if those still shots came directly from the video when I got it or if they acquired them because other detectives went to the store to get the information from the store that day.
And those detectives could have taken the still shots, is what you're saying?
Possibly.
Okay, got it. But in any event, it was either yours or another detective's decision which stills to take, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we see that picture of Jessica smiling now. If what she said was true and that Olivia was fine when she looked in on her before she went to the Bolero, and she said she was fine, she appeared to be fine. And then she closed the door and she went out by herself to get this money order that they had been gonna get the night before. Do you recall all that?
Yes, sir.
And then if that's true, then when she was at the Bolero, she wouldn't have had any reason to be concerned about Olivia's condition, would she?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Okay. And let me ask you about that. Have you read the University Health Sciences Center reports of Olivia's treatment?
I did at the time of the investigation.
Okay, and in there, Dr. Gebhardt says that Jessica told him that she had heard Olivia vomiting and then she didn't check on her and then she went to the Bolero. Is that what Jessica told you?
Not that I remember.
Okay, in fact, she said she looked in on her, she was fine, she went to the Bolero, she came back, and then she heard the noises coming from her room and she looked in and she was vomiting. Is that right?
She said when she was home, she realized that Olivia was vomiting.
She heard noises, is what she said on the video, right?
I don't remember her exact wording, but
Okay.
that's when she was alerted to it.
Okay, but it was after she came back from the Bolero is all I'm saying.
That's what she told me.
Okay, and you've reviewed all the other statements in this case, correct?
Yes.
And have you ever seen her say any different than that in any of those statements? Either in writing, but besides Dr. Gebhardt's, either in writing or on video or on audio, have you ever heard her say that she heard her throwing up and then went to the Bolero and didn't check on
Not that I remember.
her? Okay. And you would remember that if she had said that, correct?
I would hope so, but I can't tell you for sure. I don't
Okay.
remember.
I mean, it would be an important detail, wouldn't it?
It would.
Okay. Where'd you go to school?
Which school?
College.
I went to Western Illinois University for college,
And what was your major?
political science,
Okay. And
Western Illinois University.
was that like a shout out?
No, I asked you to repeat.
I didn't hear it. Sorry. I was gonna say hook 'em horns. So, and what was your degree in, did you say political science?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you take any graduate courses?
I attended law school and graduated. Law school at St. Mary's University and graduated.
Okay. And did you take any in college? Did you take any geometry?
I can't remember the math courses that were required.
Check the relevance.
I'd be overruled.
Go ahead.
I can't remember the math courses I had to take in college.
Okay. Now, states 40 is a RCA tablet, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And that was taken from Justice Department.
Yes, sir.
Why did you take it?
At the time, I'd been in communication with Detective Juarez about what he was discussing with the defendant. And he mentioned the injury from a laptop, and that's the closest thing to a laptop that existed in the apartment
That's the closest thing you thought to a laptop.
that we found.
That's not a laptop.
That's a tablet.
I'm sorry.
That's a tablet.
So again, my question, that's not a laptop.
Correct. These.
Okay. Sorry. confer with my client for a second.
Yes. No problem. Do y'all need a short break? Or no? Yes, okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Sure, no problem. All right, so we're gonna come back at 3:25. Is that enough time for everyone? Remember, your badges need to be displayed. If you hear anybody talking about this case or you see anything, turn it off, pay no attention to it. Do not start deliberating, no research. Everything you need to know about this case will be from inside the courtroom. All right, everyone, please rise. All right, defense. All right, defense, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Detective Barnes, exhibit 32 is the crime scene. Video, correct? The CSI video.
If that's what this is, yes.
And I will represent to you that that is what this is. So, you'll notice it's queued up at 25 seconds, but, is that card that we see there that has the SAPD case number on it, does that indicate the beginning of the video?
Yes, sir.
That 25 seconds noise, right?
I don't know what it is on this one.
I mean, you,
Generally, yes, the card represents the beginning.
okay.
All right, excuse me, has State's Exhibit 32 been admitted?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Here we see we're in apartment 535, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's the front door, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And hold on.
You won't know why, if you press this. Why?
This is funny. Okay. So, and then we see front door, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then the camera goes, well, kind of pans in and out, but then it's inside that front door, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there ever a point on State's Exhibit 32, I think it was? Is there ever a point on this video where we see the stairs?
I don't remember.
Well, all right. And while we're reviewing this, you can keep watching the screen if you want to make sure. But while that's happening, you can also tell me, we saw a second ago, right there, that bright door there. Does that appear to be a door to a balcony?
Yes, sir.
And there is a balcony, correct?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
State's 10 shows us there's a balcony, right?
Yes, sir.
By the way, were you there yet when this video was taken?
I don't remember if I was there while the video was going.
Oh.
And Jack, while we're looking at this, we just saw what's marked on there, with a little, what do you call those,
Evidence tag?
evidence tag number 5. That was that the area of the carpet that they saw?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we know that that was not, blood, correct?
I would have to look at the lab report.
Go ahead, I'll keep this one.
I don't have a lab report.
Oh. In that case, while we're looking, I'll go ahead and talk to this again. It'll be the serology report, correct?
Yes.
First check.
Yes.
Just gonna show you what's on my laptop. So you can refresh your memory.
Yes. Yes.
So we know that that was not blood on that swab, correct?
Correct. It was negative for blood.
And you can find blood anywhere in the department, right?
No, sir.
That appears to be all of the videos, all right? Where's them all?
That's the end. That's the end of the video.
Okay.
It's only one video.
I'm sorry.
It's only one video.
Okay, and so again, having reviewed that video does not show the stairs anywhere, correct?
Unless it's before the tag that indicates normally the beginning, that first 25 seconds.
Okay. So this is the first 25 seconds playing right now. Right? So there was no documentation or video of those statements, correct?
Correct.
And same with the balcony. We know that one window with the vertical blinds on is the balcony, correct?
Yes, sir.
And nobody went out there.
The video was not out there. No.
I'm sorry.
The video was not out there. No.
Okay. And same with the CSI photo. Nobody looked.
There were no photos taken of the balcony. No.
Okay. And the balcony appears to have a metal railing, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Showing states 10. Or defendants 10, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. There's metal railing.
Okay, and then it's a concrete surface out there, correct?
Yes, sir.
And did you go out on the balcony?
I can't remember.
Okay. But because it's not documented anywhere in here, we don't know what else was out on that balcony, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You were in communication during this time while the video is being, or while you're at the apartment. You're in communication with Butler.
I was in communication with the special victims, detectives, and I don't know if it was Detective Juarez or somebody watching the video that he was doing the interview on.
Oh, I see. Okay. But in any event, you were getting information that Detective Juarez was getting from Jessica Williams.
It was something that I needed to know at the crime scene.
Okay. And so I'm trying to remember what context that was. Why did you say earlier that you had been in communication with him?
Because he was interviewing the defendant.
Right? But what did that lead you to do on the city of while you were at the crime scene?
It would have helped me in multiple areas.
Okay. Well, one of those areas would have been that if, well, for example, did anyone tell you that these were blunt force injuries?
I don't know that I knew blunt force at the time. I knew there was head injuries and other bruising and a swollen arm. So I knew the very preliminary injuries that could be seen.
Okay, and well, let me just ask you, you've investigated a bunch of deaths in your career, right?
Deaths?
Deaths.
I have investigated a number of them, yes.
Okay, and is it your opinion that those types of injuries, blunt force injuries or head injuries, could be consistent with a fall down some concrete stairs?
Yes, you can get an injury like that with a fall.
Okay, and particularly if there were a number of injuries all sustained at the same time. I'm not talking about previous injuries, but I'm talking about the ones that were sustained at or about the same time. That's consistent with falling down the stairs. Correct?
Objection, speculation.
Judge, she's been
Just
offered-
one moment. All right, that will be overruled.
Thank you. So that would be consistent with falling down the stairs, correct?
You can sustain multiple injuries when you fall down the stairs, yes.
And all you knew was sort of this general statement that she had multiple injuries, including head injury, correct?
And yes, and you should have multiple injuries, which included the head injury.
Okay, and yet you did not, to your, at least that you remember, you didn't even look at the stairs other than walking up them, right?
Correct. I looked at them when I walked up them.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I looked at them when I walked up them.
Okay, but you don't recall whether you even went up both sets of stairs.
I don't remember.
Okay, and just so that the jury's clear, can I publish this photo, Judge?
Yes.
Thank
Which
you. This is
exhibit?
States, I'm sorry, defendants 10, which has been admitted in evidence.
Yes.
And just so the jury's clear, let's just show them, we've got, this is the defendant's apartment, right?
Yeah, she's third floor.
And then here's the stairs that you went up, or no, sorry. Back here are the stairs that you went up, correct? That's toward the parking lot.
I don't remember. I can't tell you which stairs I was going up and down. It was more than once.
Okay, but you said that you went up and then there's but in any event, there's a set of stairs back on that end of the breezeway and there's a set of stairs on this end of the breezeway, correct?
Yes, there are two sets.
And you don't even know if you ever even walked up both sets of stairs,
I
correct?
don't remember.
Okay. The wing chair that we talked about. You said that at one point, Jessica said that Olivia had fallen, well, sorry, yeah, let's go with that. That Olivia had fallen off of a wing chair, right?
Hold on, Judge, my software is having a problem. You can just pause for a second.
Sorry, she said.
Just
Yeah,
one
sorry.
moment. There's some issue with the software.
Got it. I just didn't want to be sitting here without the thing.
No problem.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
Let's, where was I?
The wing chair?
Oh, right. So at one point, Jessica told you that Olivia had fallen off a wing chair, correct? You remember that? You remember that?
I remember asking her to clarify which chair by asking her if it was the recliner.
Okay. And then, she said that she had fallen at one point, she said she had fallen off a recliner, correct?
That's when I clarified if she was talking about the recliner.
Okay, but do you know whether that wing chair was a recliner?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Do you know whether that wing chair was a recliner?
I asked her to clarify because I didn't know what was meant by the chair she was talking about. So I knew there was a recliner in the apartment. That's why I asked.
Okay, so. Sorry. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say wing chair?
I do not.
Okay, I'll show you. I probably should.
Yes.
So I'm showing you what's been entered in evidence as states 52. And there are two types of chairs. Well, one of these is a couch. That's a couch, correct?
Yes,
That is, when I say that, I'm talking about the brown leather. thing. And then behind that, there's another chair, correct?
that matches the couch.
Right. And then there's this wing chair, correct?
Right, and that one's a recliner.
I'm sorry,
That one's a recliner.
that's the recliner. Okay,
Yes.
so may I publish this to the jury, Judge?
Yes.
Okay, so on the left with a little blanket draped over the back is the recliner, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's the That's what Jessica was talking about when she said that Olivia had fallen off of that, correct, on Friday.
Yes, sir.
I just handed the jury defendants 10, Judge, which I had asked earlier permission.
Yes.
At this point, had either Juarez or whoever else you were talking to told you that Jessica had said that Olivia fell out of the recliner and on Friday night? If you remember.
I don't remember when I found that information out.
But in any event, Jessica was cooperative in this investigation, right?
Yes, she was.
She signed a consent to search,
Yes, sir.
let you take anything that you decided you wanted. You could have cleaned that apartment from wall to wall, correct? You could have
Yes, sir.
taken everything in, right?
She was very cooperative.
She was very cooperative. And do you have any reason to believe that she would have been less cooperative later? That is, once you had the information that Jessica told you that Olivia had fallen off the recliner or the wing chair. Do you have any reason to believe that Jessica would have then been less cooperative and would not have let you go and take a swab of that floor?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. So you don't have any reason to believe that?
I don't know if she would have been less cooperative.
Okay, but do you have any reason to think she would have been?
I don't.
So, but you didn't do that. Once you got the information that Jessica said, hey, she fell off the recliner and onto that hard floor, you didn't go back, you didn't have CSI go back and swab that floor, right?
I did not.
And you didn't ask if you could do that.
I did not.
And you didn't obtain a search warrant for it.
I did not.
And do you believe you could have gotten a search warrant?
If I needed to search for evidence, yes, I could have got a search warrant.
And by the same token, what was the first date that you interviewed Jessica?
On the 5th.
Fifth. Okay, so the same day, just later in this. After Juarez is done with her, then comes your 5 hours?
I don't know how long it was, but I did interview her after Detective Warris, yes.
Okay, and Juarez had her for 5 hours before that, correct?
I don't believe we each talked to her for 5 hours each, no.
Well.
I don't think that's
Okay,
accurate.
do you need to review the video of Juarez to refresh your memory?
I don't know how long he talked to her, but I don't believe I talked to her for 5 hours.
And then, once you talk to her on the 5th, you now at least had her explanation for as far as everything that she was willing to tell you that she knew, correct?
I had what she told me, yes.
Okay, and you didn't go back on the 5th and swab the stairs. What, you also, did you have any more information from the doctors on the 5th than you had earlier in the day when you were at the park?
The last I talked to the doctors, they were still waiting to examine,
They were what?
waiting to examine.
Okay, had they told you, oh, so they had not even examined her?
Not the doctor I spoke to, but the examination, I believe, was a forensic examination.
Okay. So. All right, but in any event, you did not go back to the apartment or have CSI go back to the apartment and swab the stairs or swab the balcony or swab any of those hard objects, correct? Or
Correct.
surfaces.
Correct.
And as far as you remember, you never even looked on the balcony, for example, on flood or.
I said I don't remember if I went on the balcony or not.
And that was my question. As far as you remember, you never even looked, right?
No, I said I don't remember if I went out or not.
That's what I'm asking you. So as far as you remember, that's how I'm qualifying this, as far as you remember, you never even looked, correct?
That's not what I said. I don't remember if I looked or if I did not look.
When you talked to Jessica on the 5th, you seemed to be very upset that she did not stop and call 911. In fact, you said to her for at least 4 minutes, you talked to her about the fact that she had not stopped.
Objection to counsel testifying.
Is there a question?
There is, Judge. So for at least 4 minutes, you talked to her about the fact that she had not stopped to call 911. Is that correct?
I talked to her about that fact, yes.
And you told her that all she had to do was stop. Anybody would have stopped if they had seen a woman carrying a child, correct?
And I believe I told her that anyone would have stopped to help a child.
Okay, to help a child, you're right. And you told her that you thought it was strange behavior to not stop and call 911, correct?
I did.
And she had already told you that her cell phone was out of minutes, correct?
No, she told me she couldn't find her cell phone.
Okay. And you don't recall her telling you that it was out of minutes?
I remember a conversation about that, but when I was talking to her, she said she couldn't find it. She didn't know where it was.
Okay. When do you remember a conversation about that?
She was talking about minutes and using a different phone because she had other phones, but I don't remember in the context of why we were talking about minutes.
Okay, it's okay. We're gonna go over that again. You also at one point on the 5th, you asked Jessica, oh, so you've never left her alone before, talking about Olivia, and then Jessica was telling me that she left her to go to the store. And you said, oh, so you've never left her alone before, recall that?
Yes,
And you recall her response, no, I have left her alone. You recall that?
yes,
And then you said, so that's a regular thing for you to leave her alone? You recall that?
yes.
Okay, so she's kind of damned if she does and damned if she doesn't in that situation, right?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, you appear to be I don't want to use the word accusing, but using an accusatory tone when you say, oh, so you've never left her alone before, as if she were making that up. You recall that?
Using an accusatory tone? No.
Okay, and then when you say, oh, so that's a regular thing that you leave her alone, would you qualify that as a not my tone, but the tone that you used in the video when you said that? Would you qualify that as accused?
No.
Okay. Would you agree with me that if Jessica had said that this was the first time she left her alone, that would be suspicious, convenient?
No.
Would you agree with me that if she regularly left her alone, which is your words, that would be neglectful?
Yes.
And by the way, just so we're clear here, she's not accused in this case, in this trial, of negligent injury to a child, correct?
I don't believe that's the indicted charge, no.
It's either intentional or knowing, correct?
I believe that's the indicted charge. Injured child can also be reckless.
Right, but not in this case, correct? Because the jury has to determine whether the state has proved what they charged, what they indicted, right?
Object to relevance, Judge.
Sustained.
Um. You did a cell phone extraction on, oh, well, you didn't personally do the extraction, correct?
Correct.
But you reviewed the documents regarding that extraction, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what's a cell phone?
That's where they hook up the cell phone to a machine to take a copy of the data from the phone.
To take what?
A copy of the data from the phone.
Okay, and will it take all of the data from the phone?
You're gonna have to ask the experts on what comes off and what doesn't.
Okay, so, but you've seen cell phone extractions before, correct?
I've seen the reports they provide.
Okay, and have you seen evidence that has been derived from cell phone extraction?
Yes,
Videos, photographs, things like that?
yes,
And have you seen, call records of, you know, how your phone keeps track of what calls you've made?
yes,
And is that part of the evidence you get from the extraction? You're doing?
yes.
And, location, geolocation?
Depends on the phone sometimes.
Okay. In any event, in your experience with cell phone extractions, they get, either they get all the data or they don't, but they're not gonna get any more by doing it a second time.
You're gonna have to ask the experts.
Okay, that's fine. My point, Jessica told you at one point that the only photos she had, or most of the photos that she had for Olivia, were on that phone that you confiscated, right?
She told me she wanted her photos from the phone. Yes.
And I'm asking a slightly different question. She told you that the only photos that she had of Olivia, or most of the photos she had of Olivia, were on that phone that you confiscated, correct?
I don't remember her exact words in the interview.
Okay, and once the cell phone extraction was done, you didn't return that phone to her.
No, it's still in evidence.
It's still in evidence to this day.
As far as I'm aware, yes.
And so she's still 5 years later, doesn't have copies.
Object to relevance.
Relevance.
Goes to the techniques that they were using to question her. Then.
All right, that'll be sustained.
Um, Oh, at one point you asked Jessica, why is it that sometimes she sits there when she's being, referring to the time she's being put in timeout? And you said sometimes she'll sit there, but other times she tries to fight her way out of the room. You remember asking her that?
Yes.
Okay. And you recall Jessica's response to that?
I don't remember her exact words, no.
Okay. Again, you don't have kids, correct?
I do not.
I'm sorry.
I do not.
Objection asked, answered, and relevance.
All right, that will be sustained.
You recall asking Jessica if she ever spanked Olivia?
I asked her about all discipline.
Do you recall asking her if she ever spanked Olivia?
Yes,
And what was her response to that?
she spanked her once when she was a baby.
And did she say if she had ever spanked her again?
She said she did not, except for hitting her hands.
Hitting her hand when she was reaching for a hot stove, correct?
Right, just hitting her hand was the only thing.
Also, there's been a lot of talk about ears and bruises to ears. When you asked Jessica if she had ever spanked Olivia, one of the things that you kind of threw in there is, well, it's okay to spank your child. You recall saying that?
Yes,
And that there's nothing, well, you're familiar with the law. There's nothing illegal about spanking the child, correct?
discipline is legal, yes.
And is there a specific prohibition for something that makes it illegal to discipline a kid by throwing a chocolate?
Object to relevance.
CHA.
That'll be sustained.
Is there a specific prohibition on disciplining a child by pinching their ears?
The law is not specific to the types of discipline. Discipline has to be reasonable for the age of the child and whatever they're being disciplined for.
Okay, and you've done a lot of child abuse investigations, is that correct?
I have done a number, yes.
You've done a number?
Yes.
Okay, and in that time, have you ever found parents who discipline their children by, among other things, pinching, squeezing, twisting their ears, the top? Or the bottoms, any part of it?
I have had cases that involved ear injuries from pulling on the ears.
Okay. I'm asking a slightly different question. My question is, in that time, have you ever seen cases where parents have disciplined their children by either twisting, pulling, or tugging on the ear?
Object to relevance.
Sustained.
Judge, the testimony in this case has been that that is under all circumstances abuse. Jessica admitted that she disciplined
Judge,
Olivia.
that's a miss.
All right, can I have parties approach?
Jessica told you, freely admitted in fact, that she did in fact discipline Olivia by pinching her ears. Recall that?
She did.
And and she didn't try to hide that, right?
No,
And that's not the same thing as beating a child with a steel rod, correct?
it is not.
She also told you that several times a week she would hit Olivia's head or feet on the door frame when carrying her to bed. She didn't say she bashed it against the door frame, correct?
Correct.
She didn't give you any indication of how hard she bumped it against the door, correct?
Correct.
In fact, I think she used the word bump, correct?
I don't know the exact word she used.
Okay, we're gonna go over that video. So. You kept saying over and over through both videos that Jessica had not taken Olivia to the doctor since she was 18 months old, right?
Yes,
That's not true.
she took her to the doctor for injuries, not for a checkup.
Okay, and your reasoning for why she wasn't taking her to the doctor and what you stated, your stated reason for why she wasn't taking her to the doctor was that she was afraid that doctors would see those injuries, correct?
Yes,
And yet she was actually taking Olivia to the doctor with those injuries for treatment of those injuries, correct?
she took her for specific injuries. Yes,
Right. She didn't necessarily take her for her well baby stuff or timely for vaccine boosters, but she did take her to the doctor. It is not true to say that she didn't take her to the doctor since she was 18 months old.
she did not take her for annual appointments.
It's not true to say that she didn't take her to the doctor since she was 18 months old.
Objection asked and answered.
It wasn't answered, Judge.
That'll be overruled.
Ask it again.
It's not true to say that she didn't take her to the doctor since she was 18 months old, is it?
She took her to the doctor for injuries.
And therefore, it's not true to say she didn't
Objection
take her
asked
to
and
the doctor
answered.
since she was 18 months old,
All right, that'll be overruled.
correct?
Correct. She's been to the doctor for injuries.
Why did you ask her, at some point you said, well, you didn't go to the doctor either. You meaning Jessica. Recall asking her that?
I was asking her about her depression, if she went to the doctor to seek treatment.
I see. And Jessica told you she doesn't have she doesn't have insurance, right?
Correct.
We approach it.
Yes. because I have to look over the computer screen. So if you guys will make sure you raise your hands up. All right, so I know you guys are gonna learn what I'm about to say right now by heart, but just so you'll always remember, wear your badges so that everyone can see them displayed. Do not discuss the case amongst yourself or with anyone else. If anyone is talking about the case or you see something about the case, turn it off. Don't listen to it. And you're not allowed to deliberate until I give you permission to deliberate. No research. Everything that you need to know about this case will be from inside the courtroom. So let's come back at 4:30. All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors. Yes.
All right, for the jury.
All right, everyone, please be seated. Defense.
What did Jessica tell you about her own insurance?
She did not have health insurance.
Sorry.
She did not have health insurance. Is that what you asked me?
Are you saying a lack of health insurance?
She told me she did not have insurance.
Did not have insurance. Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry. And on the 12th, you told Jessica that she was not in custody and that she was free to leave at any time. Is that right?
Correct.
But at one point, she tried to leave. Is that right?
Yeah, she came out of the room and spoke to some detectives in the office.
They told her that she could not leave.
They escorted her to the witness room because the building is locked and waited for me.
They told her that she could not leave. Is that correct?
They told her that the building, she couldn't walk around the building.
But she continued to insist that she needed to leave. And they did not only didn't walk her to the door, but walked her back into the interrogation room and said, wait here for Detective Cron, correct?
Yes, and then they took her to the witness room.
The witness room?
It looks like a lobby of a doctor's office, I guess you'd call it. At one point, a detective tells her, would you prefer sitting in the witness room? And she said, yes. He said, okay, I'll go with you.
Huh. Okay. I don't recall that. I do recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't she then sit in the interrogation room until you come back and you interrogate her for 2 more hours
No, I bring her back into the room eventually.
from the witness room?
Yes.
Okay, but the witness room is not leaving, right?
No, it's a waiting area.
So she's still, essentially, she's not essentially, she is locked inside of the safe room, right?
Correct. The building has locked doors, so she wouldn't be able to get through the entire building.
Okay, so telling somebody in a circumstance like that, that they're free to leave is being a little liberal with that word free, isn't it?
No, I explained to her that I brought her there. I was more than happy to take her back whenever she wanted because it was completely voluntary and she just needed to tell me.
And yet when she wanted, you continued to interrogate her for 2 more hours, correct?
No, I spoke to her and asked her if she wanted to leave. She continued to talk. That's why we went back to the room. She wanted to know where her mother was.
All right. You said that you reviewed some videos and some pictures of Olivia that had been, I believe, were extracted from Jessica's camera. Is that correct?
From the cell phone.
I'm sorry, from herself. And you did that because you were looking, because Jessica, I think your words were that Jessica had told you that she was always falling.
Right.
And you wanted to see if there were videos on there of Olivia not falling.
I wanted to see if there was evidence of what she claimed.
Okay. But she didn't say she was always falling. She said she was sometimes falling. Is that correct?
She said towards the end, her legs and muscles in her legs weren't working great, so she was falling a lot.
Isn't it possible that someone could be falling a lot and yet There will be videos of them not falling.
Yes.
Um. Once Olivia was taken to the hospital, Jessica never got to see her again. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Also, Jessica told you that she had dropped a melamine plate on Olivia's head. And you then said that you asked her kind of sarcastically, oh, so you're just dropping plates on her over and over? You recall saying?
She said she dropped plastic dishes on her head multiple times because she couldn't hold anything.
She also told you at one point that one of these previous injuries had come from, I believe it was the saw on the forehead, had come from Olivia tripping on the stairs. Jessica was holding her hand, but they were going up the stairs. She tripped and scraped her head on the edge of the stair. Do you recall that?
She said the injury came from a bike. It reopened on the stairs.
Right, but. Okay, so I'm talking about the second. The reopening, right? She said that, that happened one time, right? The falling on the stairs. I guess re-injury.
Hitting her head in that location. Yes, that's what she said.
Is that, looking at these stairs, you said it did, you said to Jessica that doesn't even make sense. Do you recall saying that to her?
I do.
But looking at these stairs. And defendants, well. We don't know which. Set of stairs, whether it was the shorter set of stairs or the larger set of stairs, either one of them. You can see that there's that, what we talked about in defendants 4 and defendants 8. One of them is the short set of stairs, one of them is the long set of stairs. The defendant's 8 is the long set of stairs. And you can see that each of these stairs has a sharp metal or steel edge on it, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and if a child were going up those stairs and tripped and fell forward, it is possible that they could hit just their forehead without, I think you said, well, you'd have to hit the rest of your face.
She said she fell and hit the stairs, which would imply she was falling down, which would imply she was falling down.
Right. Well, she said specifically that she was holding her hand, that she tripped, and that she scraped her head on the edge of that. Is that a possible, is that something that can happen?
In my opinion, where the injury was located, that would be a hard thing to do.
Okay. And now you understand that the hypothetical I'm giving you there, or in fact, what Jessica actually told you happened, is that she's going up the stairs, right?
Yes.
And you think it would be hard to trip on a set of stairs, whether you're a child or an adult. You think it would be difficult to trip on a set of stairs and land on one of those edges and hit your forehead?
It wasn't her forehead. It was the top of her forehead.
It was the top, it was, well, she specifically said it was, she pointed, just the points in the video, It says this star here, right?
Right, from the picture she was looking at,
I'm sorry.
from the picture she was looking at.
Okay. Recall if the door to the apartment was the kind that, like at a hotel where it swings shut automatically and locks, or if it would stay open if it was left.
I don't remember. You said that at one point you told Jessica that Olivia was one of the most clumsy children you've ever heard of, correct? That was from her description of her, yes.
Right, but you said to her, Olivia is one of the most clumsy children I've ever heard of. Recall saying that?
Yes,
Do you remember, do you remember learning that Olivia was in the bottom fifth percentile, maybe the 10th percentile for weight and height?
I don't remember.
You're welcome to consult the prosecution guide if you have it up there or in the reports. I think you mentioned that.
I don't see where I mentioned what percentile she's in.
Okay, and I can do this in a minute. In any event, did you believe her to be malnourished?
I knew that she lost weight compared to her last visit.
Slightly different question. Did you believe her to be malnourished?
No, what I believed her to be was that she lost weight.
So you did not believe her to be malnourished?
I did not know.
And there's been testimony that she was in the bottom 5%, 5th percentile. And the testimony was also that somebody has to be. Comparing back to your statement that this is one of the clumsiest children I've ever seen, I've ever heard of, somebody has to be the clumsiest child in the world, right?
Yes.
This fight that you talked about a minute ago that Jessica said that caused the original injury that then reopened on the stairs. You remember talking about that?
Yes.
You remember Jessica telling me about that fight?
She told me about the injury caused by the bike. Yes.
And would you show me, you can step down if you need to, or you can consult the reports, or you can just tell us it's not there. If it's not there, the swabs of the bike?
There are no swabs of the bike.
You did not, and why is it that there are no swabs of the bike?
That injury was a long time ago.
Okay, you've been a detective for a long time. Has it ever been your experience that DNA remains on an object for a long period of time?
It can.
And one way to find out if there's DNA on something, in fact, the only way to find out if there's DNA on something is to swab it, correct?
Yes, sir.
And after Jessica told you this, well, first off, did Juarez tell you that Jessica had told him that one of those injuries was from falling against this bike?
I don't remember.
You're welcome to consult the report if you remember. And when I say Juarez or anybody else that you were consulting with on the, when you were searching the property.
Yeah, she did tell him about the bike. I don't know when I learned that.
Okay, but somebody was giving you information about what you considered to be relevant information about injuries that Olivia had, correct?
Yes,
And one of the things, either at that time or later on, you learned that Jessica said that Olivia had, that one of those injuries had been from a bike, from the frame of the bike itself, correct?
one of the older injuries, not the new injuries.
Right.
Yes,
And, well, all right, let's do that then. Was there any DNA recovered from State's Exhibit 42, the metal bar?
there was not.
I'm sorry,
There was not.
okay. And, but you checked that, right?
It was swabbed, yes.
I'm sorry,
It was swabbed, yes.
okay. And you believed, and or at least this is what you seem to imply to the jury, that based on your holding that up near Olivia's head, you believe that that was a weapon that had caused some of the previous injuries, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And yet, even though those were old injuries, you checked for that for DNA, right?
because she had a new head injury.
I'm sorry?
Because she had a new head injury.
Right, but you checked this for DNA, even though the old injuries that you believed were caused by this, I mean, even though those were old, that didn't stop you from checking this for DNA, correct? When I say this, I'm talking
Objection
about
has to
40.
be answered.
All right, that'll be overruled.
Correct, because she had a new head injury.
Okay. Was there any, I mean, certainly you wouldn't argue that holding this up next to somebody's head is some sort of scientific experiment or test, would you?
It's demonstrative.
Okay, but there was no reason to think that your demonstrative I can't even think of what to call this. Your demonstrative episode had turned up any evidence that any new injuries had been caused by States 42, correct?
No, they were lined up along the scars, which were
Along
the old
scars.
injuries.
And
Yes,
yet you checked States 42 for DNA, but you did not check the bike for DNA, right?
correct.
In States 42, if you had found DNA, that would have held up, that would have supported your theory, correct?
Yes,
But if the bike had DNA, that would have gone against your theory, correct?
no,
Really? Your theory is that none of these injuries are accidental, correct?
I did not say that.
Oh, okay. So which ones, I'm sorry, I misunderstood entirely. which injuries do you think are accidental and which ones do you think are intentional?
I cannot tell you. I said that the volume of injuries on multiple extremities is what is not accidental. I'm not saying that none of the injuries can possibly be accidental. I'm saying all of them taken together is not accidental.
Because the more injuries there are, the less accidental it is, right?
Objective defense counsel testifying.
That would be overruled.
According to the medical reports, the volume of injuries and some of the severity of injuries makes it not accidental.
But when you use the word volume, you're talking about the number of injuries, right?
Yes,
Okay, so what I'm getting at is, therefore, if there are more injuries, each additional injury is more evidence that it's not accidental, correct?
it's more a question for the doctors, but yes, in my opinion, if you have fresh injuries that are unexplained and there are a lot of them, it's less likely to be accidental.
Not talking about the fresh injuries, I'm talking about the scars.
When you have a combination of fresh injuries and old injuries that are then unexplained, then that is suspicious for abuse. Yes.
Sure, and each one of those, you know, let's start with one old injury, right? That's not suspicious, right?
Depends on the injury.
Sure, but just one old scar on the head isn't in and of itself suspicious, correct?
Depends on the scar.
Okay, when you get two, are you more suspicious?
Like I said, it depends on each individual injury.
Object to ask to answer in relevance.
Sustained.
I'm just trying to figure out at what point, because you're the one who said it is the volume of injuries that makes it suspicious. Did you not?
Yes,
Okay, so what I'm asking is, what volume, where do you draw the line between suspicious and not suspicious?
I can't give you a direct answer because it would be case by case and explanations for each of the injuries.
And she gave you an explanation, Jessica gave you an explanation for each of the injuries, correct?
She gave me explanations for injuries that did not appear to line up with the injuries that were caused.
She gave you explanations for each of the injuries.
She did.
Ask to answer.
Sustained.
It's not answered, Jen.
Sustained.
Okay. So. Let's pick a number out of the air, just for, you know, a thought experiment. That if you have a particular number of past injuries, scars, that you believe makes a case suspicious or unexplained scars, then wouldn't you agree with me that whatever that number is, if you reduce it by one, that's one less scar that we need to worry about?
Object to
correct?
relevance and speculation.
Sustained.
All right, in any event, you did not swab the bike for DNA, correct?
I did not.
You didn't even look at the bike, did you?
I did not.
The bike, in fact, was out on the balcony, correct?
I don't remember.
Feel free to look at your notes, they'll help you remember.
I don't believe it'd be on my notes. It would have to be in the photos.
So you didn't take notes that said, you didn't take any notes that said that the bike was in the closet of the balcony, correct?
Let me check. No, my notes don't mention the bike.
Okay. Because at that point, at least, when you were at the apartment, you didn't find it important. Right? If it was, you'd written it down.
Right.
And yet, later, when Jessica gave you information, because you said your goal here was not to prosecute and not to persecute, but rather to gather information, correct?
Yes.
You weren't trying to back up your own theory about how this happened. You were just trying to gather information, correct?
Yes.
And when Jessica gave you information that would have at least partly exonerated her, at least as to one of these old injuries, you didn't bother to go back and corroborate.
Object to relevance.
All right, that will be overruled. You can answer the question.
What was your question again?
When Jessica gave you information that would have at least partly exonerated her, at least as to one of the old injuries, because remember, you gotta explain, if there's a lot of injuries, you gotta explain them one by one. Would you agree?
We attempt to.
No, I'm saying, not you, I said you, I'm sorry, any person, when somebody's asking them, how did all these injuries happen? You gotta go through and say, okay, this one happened this way, this one happened this way, this one happened this way, right?
Yes.
Okay, Jessica gave you information that would have exonerated her as to, well, as to all those injuries, but this one, you have a way of corroborating her story, right?
She said it came from a bike. Even if I saw the bike, I would not be able to corroborate it to that point. No.
Because you couldn't go swab the bike?
If Olivia had been using that bike for years, her DNA is going to be on the bike.
Okay, but how do you know there's not blood on the bike? You never looked at it. You never even looked, right?
Correct.
Object to ask and answer.
That'll be overruled.
You said correct.
Correct.
How long have you been with SAPD?
17 years.
17?
17.
Was that your first job out of college?
No.
What was your first?
My very first job out of college, I was an assistant manager at a clothing store.
And how long were you there?
Not long, under a year, I think.
And then after that?
I worked for the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives.
For how long?
3.5 years.
And after that?
SAPD.
SAPD, and then you've been there since.
Yes.
Now, are you trained in interrogation techniques?
We received some training in interview and interrogation, yes.
And you said we, are you including just SAPD officers? Are you including detectives? Who's we?
Detectives and above should have had some semblance of that training back when I received it. It has since changed.
Back when you were what?
When I received the training, it has since changed.
It's since changed, all right.
Yes.
But, and did you get any training in that interrogation techniques when you worked for BATL?
I don't remember.
Is it fair to say, well, let me just ask you, is there in that interrogation training and those interrogation techniques that they train you in, do they teach you to like go in with guns blazing?
No.
Like sometimes we'll see on detective shows, I know on law shows that always get stuff wrong, right? I'm sure it's probably the same way with detective shows. But sometimes we'll see on there that the detectives will come in and the first thing they do is start hammering on the table and saying, you did this, you did this. Right? Do they teach you to do that in interrogation?
Object to relevance.
That will be sustained.
Did you, in this case, go in there when you first started talking to Jessica and start accusing her of child abuse?
No,
But toward the end of the interview, of the first interview, we're talking about the one on the fifth, you were, sorry, the one on the 12th, I'm sorry, the second interview, the one on the 12th. Your tone changes, is that right?
yes,
And you are in fact accusing her of you're asking her leading questions, just like I'm asking you leading questions right now, but you're through those leading questions, you're accusing her of certain behavior, correct?
I confronted her about inconsistencies.
Okay. And when you say inconsistency, you mean things that you believe were inconsistent with, not necessarily things that she had said before, but with what you thought the facts showed, right?
Yes,
Okay, so, and in fact, when you were interrogating her on the 22nd, is that right?
yes,
When you're interrogating her on the 22nd, you started out with a much more aggressive tone. Would you agree?
no,
Okay, maybe aggressive is the wrong word. You started out stating that you did not believe her and that give you some examples. That we're not talking about a fall here, Jessica. I already told you this didn't come from a fall. You recall saying that?
yes,
So, and that went on for quite a long time on the 22nd, correct?
I don't know how long that interview was for, but it was a while. I said, I don't know how long that interview was for, but it was a while.
Well, that was the one we just watched parts of, and that was at least a couple hours, right?
I don't know how long it was.
You said at one point, the prosecutor asked you, what else you had done in the investigation and your response. I mean, she actually had several times. At one point, your response was that you had investigated the background. Oh, this was in response to the question of why did you get an arrest warrant? Or what did you get that based on? And one of the things that you mentioned was that you had investigated the background between Olivia and Jessica. Do you recall that?
Yes,
And by background, did you run CPS checks for prior incidents of complaints about her beating a child or anything like that?
what I was specifically referring to when I was talking to the prosecutor was talking to the neighbors and what the neighbors had heard in the past and what they had seen in the past and talking to the apartment manager.
That's good. That's good information to have, but I'm asking a slightly different question. Question is, by background, did you check whether there have been either with CPS or the police, any previous incidents of Jessica having beaten this child?
I did check that. That's not what I was referring to with the prosecutor, but yes, I did check.
Okay, and what was the result of that?
I did not have any history.
There was no history. So in talking to the prosecutor, you said that you talked to neighbors and who else?
The apartment manager.
You attempted to locate Facebook data for Jessica?
Yes, I attempted to find her Facebook page that one of her friends referred to.
Okay, and you couldn't find it?
I could not.
Did you ask Jessica for help doing that?
I did not.
Was there a reason?
By that time, she was already arrested and in jail when I found that out. Well, she had bonded out. So I didn't re-interview her after that.
Yeah.
After she was booked,
I'm sorry?
after she was booked?
No, after she was arrested.
No, yes, but after she was booked and bonded out, I did not re-interview her.
No.
Because I didn't find a need to re-interview her at that point. She gave me everything that she was gonna give me.
Well. Okay. How do you know that if you didn't ask?
Because I had spoke to her 3 times.
Did you ever ask her about her Facebook page?
I did not.
Okay, so how do you know that if you had asked her about her Facebook page, that she would not have given you help looking?
I don't know that.
Okay, got it. And in fact, throughout this investigation, up until this case went to trial, for 5 years, she has been not only willing to continue cooperation, but I've said you can talk to her anytime y'all want.
Object to relevance.
Sustained.
Y'all never took her up on that offer, did you?
Object to relevance again.
Sustained.
When you arrested Jessica, where was she?
She was leaving a medical facility.
What, and you can, the judge has already ruled that you can answer this question. Why was she leaving a medical facility?
She was
You can
seeking
answer the
treatment
question.
at the location.
And, well, seeking treatment might be a strong word. Was there something that brought about her being put into this facility?
She attempted suicide.
She attempted suicide. And that was after the, after you had interrogated her on the 17th?
I think it was the 12th.
Well, that's right, it was the 12th and then there's so many interrogators. But, and I'm not saying, I'm not trying to imply there was anything caused it out there. I'm not saying who caused it. I'm saying, but it was acting in terms of the sequence of events. After you interrogated her, the next thing you hear about her was that at some point, and again, I'm not trying to imply any causation, but that at some point she had attempted suicide, correct?
That's what her mother told me.
And you confirmed that by arresting her at the psychiatric hospital, correct?
Objection, misstatement of the evidence and relevance.
Overruled.
Correct.
I didn't confirm that, no.
Okay.
But she was arrested at the medical facility, not by me, but she was arrested by somebody at the medical facility.
That's, you didn't. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you okay to continue with this witness? All right, thank you.
I didn't hear what you asked me.
I asked them if they were okay to continue with this witness, because I know I said I would let them break at a specific time.
You said to Jessica at one point in the September 12th interview, that if this was a fall, it must have been a major fall, correct?
Yes,
And is that because you believe that there would have to have been a massive amount for it to fall injury?
that is what the medical information led me to believe.
So that is what you believe?
That is what I believe happened, yes.
Um. And talking to Jessica on the 12th again, sorry. Yeah, the 12th. You say. At one point you say, there were a lot of injuries and without some explanation, abuse is a logical explanation. You recall saying that?
I may have, I don't know my exact wording.
Okay. Would you agree with me that it is not the only logical explanation for a lot of injury?
I was referring to this specific case. I was referring to this specific case.
Okay, and your belief is that whatever explanations Jessica gave, they are not a logical explanation, correct?
She did not provide any logical explanation for the injuries that Olivia had, no.
Okay, what if she didn't know? Is that a possibility?
Speculation.
Sustained.
Um. And you say to her during that same interview, in fact, right at that same time, you say, well, tell me if something happened accidentally. You recall saying that?
Yes,
And so you're giving her an out, right?
I'm making sure I cover all of the bases.
Right, and, so, but she doesn't take that out, does she?
She didn't describe an accident that would have caused all those injuries, no.
In fact, what she said over and over for hours and hours to Juarez and to you and to the first people who talked to her at U of H and to you again and then again for hours on end, she said, I don't know what happened, right?
She doesn't know why her daughter died. She did explain the things that she thought she knew.
Right, because you were asking her to, right?
Yes, every time I asked her about something specific, she came up with another reason why it could have happened.
Because that's what you were asking. If she said, I don't know, you literally, the words you said to her were, that's not good enough.
She said, I don't know a lot to a lot of the injuries.
And your response was, that's not good enough. And so then she would tell you, okay, well, maybe this caused it, right?
I don't agree with your sequence of events, but yes, she would give me excuses for some of the injuries. And yes, I would tell her that I don't know is good enough, isn't good enough.
And you're calling them excuses, but if they were true, they'd be explanations, not excuses, correct?
Object to speculation.
Judge, if they
overruled.
are true. that's
Excuse
what I'm
me. Everyone. Make an objection. I will respond to the objection. No speaking objections. The objection is overruled. Ask your question.
Thank you. So if they were true, they wouldn't be explanation. I mean, they wouldn't be excuses, it would be explanations, right?
I believe it's semantics, but yes.
Okay, so it's when we take that view that they are not true, that they become excuses, right?
I don't think that the things she described are untrue. I think that the things she described did not cause the injuries we were talking about.
Okay. Let me make sure I understand that, because that's new. That's not in your report, is it?
What's on my report?
That you think the things she said were true, it's just that they don't, or you don't think they're untrue, let me put it that way. But that you don't think that they explain the injuries she saw. Right?
It's probably not written that way in my report now.
And it's not written that way in the search warrant, I mean, in the, well, in the search warrant affidavit for the phone.
Well, that's an opinion. That's why.
I'm sorry?
That's my opinion.
Okay, and it's not written that way. Well, you give your opinion as part of support for the search warrant, correct?
I would have to look at the search warrant again. I can't remember what I wrote in it.
I just say that.
Yes.
I'll dig it up, I'll get back to you on it. But, so did you put that in the prosecution? You have quite a number of opinions in the prosecution document, correct?
I have the information I recovered in the prosecution guide.
Okay. And did you put in there anything about, I believe that, or I don't believe that what Jessica is telling me is not true. It's just that I don't believe that explains the injury.
Object to relevance.
Overall.
I don't have that wording in my report, no.
That's overruled.
Oh,
You may continue, yeah.
oh, yeah, I don't have that wording in my report.
Okay. But just so that we're clear here, you're not telling this jury that you disbelieve the explanations that Jessica gave. You just don't believe that they are sufficient to explain the prior event, correct?
The prior injuries, what do you mean by that?
All the injuries that you talked about that lead you to believe that this is child abuse, remember?
What I'm saying is I don't disbelieve that some of the things that she said she did to Olivia. What I'm saying is that the severity of her head injuries were not explained by what she said. The injuries to her nose, the injuries to her side, none of that is explained by what she said.
So you're talking, now you're talking, let's be sure that we're defining terms here. When you say that you don't disbelieve what she said, are you talking about the prior injuries, the scars and stuff on her head? Or are you talking about the injuries that were immediate to the fifth when you first?
I'm only talking about the action she said. I don't disbelieve that she dropped plates on her head. I don't disbelieve the things that she was saying, that she couldn't carry her child to bed without knocking into the door frames. I don't disbelieve those things. I'm saying that that does not equate to the injuries on Olivia.
Okay, again, though, there you're talking about prior injuries, right?
I'm talking about all the injuries together,
Well,
prior, new, all of them.
okay. All right. So do you disbelieve that on Friday, the first, okay, that Olivia fell off the recliner, one chair, whatever it is, do you, and hit the back of her head? Do you disbelieve that?
Object to relevance.
Sustained.
Judge, she's given her opinion that this case is child abuse.
The objection has been sustained.
Can we approach Judge?
Yes.
Oh, Judge, while we're up, sorry. Can we
Sure.
approach again?
Yes. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the court's understanding that a video is going to be played in its entirety. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So,
All of the videos, Judge. I'm left with no choice.
no, I mean,
Judge, I believe
each,
the first video has already been played in its entirety.
all right. So
and
each
I gave
party,
Timestamps on the other one.
all right, each party, you're allowed to try your case however you choose to try it. And I think both parties know that. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, my understanding is that the video that's seeking to be played, what's the estimated time of the video?
First one, Judge, I believe is an hour 20. I think this is the one from the, yeah.
Okay. So in total?
In total,
Yes.
I think it's an hour 20 on that one. I think it's 5 hours on the second one. You know, it's. And Detective Barnes. Apparently
Okay, all right. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to break. I know that I said that we would start tomorrow at 10:30, but we're not going to be able to do that because the docket that I've been given is extra large. So we're going to start tomorrow at 1:30. Tomorrow, we're actually going to break at 4:30. And then on Wednesday, we're going to go all day from 9 o'clock until potentially 5:30. Is everybody okay to go Wednesday till 5:30? All right.
And Judge, just for the record, I will be objecting to in playing the entire video under Rule 403 and 611, that is wasting the court's time, undue delay, and cumulative.
Judge, I
Oh.
beg the state to play the whole video.
Everyone, just give me a moment. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, remember, keep your badges on, no research. If someone is talking about this, then turn away. Do not look at anything that may or may not be on the news or in newspapers. Do not begin your deliberation. Remember, everything that you need to hear about this case will happen in the courtroom. Does everyone understand? All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors.